Circle of Excellence 14 times, including the $1 Million Circle 5 times, and her unit ranked in the top 10 of the Pearl Division 11 times. Her unit ranked in the top 10 nationwide 4 times, and was the runner-up to the Queen of Unit Sales at the Pearl Seminars twice, and she was the Queen of the Pearl Seminars twice. A few other career highlights include being nominated as the monthly Miss Go Give at the Pearl Seminar in September 1990. During her active Mary Kay career, she earned 138 stars on her ladder of success. And the reason we're on is to celebrate you for being a star. So congratulations for doing what it takes to be on this call, because you are a star, just like Robin was a star. She did it 138 times, and she's been driving a free car since 1982. Once Robin became a sales director, she left car payments behind until she became an NSD, and she decided to purchase a Land Rover. She's earned $5 million in commissions in her Mary Kay career. That's a whole lot of zeros and a couple commas. I like that. Thanks to Mary Kay, Robin has traveled the globe, winning trips all over the world. Of her trips, 33 total, including the year she earned the Prestige trip, the cruise to the British Isles was with a day spent in Liverpool was her day where she did, let me start over. The cruise to the British Isles with a day spent in Liverpool, where she did an all-day Beatle tour, created her all-time favorite memory, since she has always been a huge Beatle fan. Do you have a favorite Beatle?
Probably Paul.
Okay, very good. Very good. Awesome. Okay. Next to the British Isles cruise, her favorite trips and memories are the European trips she made, particularly to Paris, Scotland, and Ireland. Robin has actually she was in Dublin, Ireland when 9/11 took place here in the U.S. As an emeritus, she has 4 more trips to take with Mary Kay. Robin feels that the accolades and commissions she's earned cannot begin to replace the time she spent with Mary Kay Ash on top sales director trips and in private conversations. The woman Robin has become is only by God's grace and her willingness to work her Mary Kay business. Moving up the career path placed her at the feet of giants, just like you guys are being placed at the feet of a giant tonight, and surrounded her with successful friends who mentored her and paved the way for her success. Linda Tupin is one of those friends. In retirement, Robin has more interests than she has time. She takes care of and enjoys her Havanese dog, Abigail, who is 9 and very spoiled. Her faith is a priority, and she walks every morning for exercise and to clear her head at the beginning of each day. She reads every chance she gets and is an avid photographer and loves to bake and cook. Her early love of all things music moved her to play an instrument at an early age. She chose the violin because someone in her family had one and she could use it. The violin morphed into playing guitar with the band during her junior high and high school years, and music has always been in the background of her life. She loves all kinds, but particularly music of the 60s. Most days when she's in her car, the Beatles channel on Sirius XM is what she listens to. And if you ever pass her on the street, you'll catch her singing right along. Robin is a native of Charlotte, North Carolina, where she currently lives. Life for all of us is full of twists and turns, and Robin is no different. 5 years ago, she and her mother, Beverly, built an addition onto her home so that Beverly could live out her older years with Robin right down the hall when she needs her. Robin has spent her life in pursuit of excellence, hoping to create vision for for the people God places in her path. She knows that time flies and waits for no one. And so she challenges you to follow your heart so that you can live out your dream now, not later. She is so grateful that she's willing to change from soap and water to Mary Kay products. It not only changed her skin, it changed her life. Robin, as you know, I have asked you to do your Mary Kay I story tonight, along with money management tips, and I will take questions as we get them. So as you are, asking questions, make sure you put them in the comments so that way I can keep track of them, because I'm going to email them to her so that way she can start, so she can answer them here tomorrow. We're going to do things just a little bit differently because, we're all in the age of pivoting. So let me introduce you to National Sales Director Emeritus and my friend, Miss Robin Rowland.
Yay!
Thank you very much, Heather. What a privilege it is for me to share with this elite group of star consultants tonight. Please allow me just to start off with a huge congratulations. Your ability to goal set is as with anything that you reach for in life, period. And while achieving any kind of goal, you must keep the vision of that goal within focus. And in reaching the level of third quarter star consultant, you have been putting this important key to work for yourself, goal setting. I just cannot be clear enough how much I admire and respect those of you who are stars each and every quarter. And now you're into the fourth quarter and the last one of the current seminar year. I want to challenge you to be a repeater, not just this past quarter, but every single quarter. If you set and reach for that goal, I know that you will make it happen. I just want to put a little bit of background on the Star Consultant program and its history with Mary Kay tonight before I get started. In 1966, Mary Kay Ash introduced a contest called the Golden Goblet Award. And this award it was really the forerunner to the current Star Consultant program. Mary Kay conceived the Golden Goblet Award as a way to recognize exceptional sales productivity, which was then $1,000 in wholesale orders in a month. You know, as typical of people who kind of poo-poo an idea, there were some Mary Kay staff members back then who were skeptical about Mary Kay's goblet effectiveness as an incentive because they told her that $1,000 a month was an unheard of amount of wholesale production at that time. But Mary Kay already understood the power of recognition as a motivator, and she insisted that the idea be given a try. In the very first year of its inception, there were 35 goblets that were earned by the independent sales force. And over the next 9 years, there were so many goblets awarded to $1,000 a month producers that people ran out of room to display them in their home. And I was one of those people. From this pioneering program, today's popular Ladder of Success or Star Consultant program was developed. The Star Consultant program actually was introduced in 1975 to inspire the sales force, not just in sales efforts, but also in team building. That year, Star Consultants wore a bright yellow Golden Girl suit, and I mean, it was bright yellow. Today, this program is bigger than ever. Before I retired, as you heard Heather say, I had earned 138 stars on my Ladder of Success pin. So obviously, the Star Consultant program was near and dear to my heart. Heather wanted me to start out tonight with a nice story, and I'm going to make it quick and just add a few pieces of my story that were not a part of the earlier introduction. I think you heard Heather say that my Mary Kay story begins with my mother's Mary Kay story because she started a Mary Kay business and brought Mary Kay into our home when I was a junior in high school, which was in 1971. At the time, the company was about 7 years old and basically unheard of. My mother truly was a Mary Kay pioneer. These are some of the things that I remember from my mom's early years in Mary Kay. Number one, I remember her carrying around a 25-pound flip chart that she lugged in and out to do her skincare parties. Number two, I watched her take the foundation bar, which was a piece of plexiglass that held 5 or 6 colors, and she would put the colors in there and put it in the oven just long enough to melt it so that it molded into these little holes. She then had to take a spatula to get them out and to smooth them down when she was at parties. The third thing that I remember is that she only had a few products to sell, and the same skincare was used by all skin types, whether you had oily, dry skin, or acne-prone skin. And guess what? Everybody had beautiful skin. The fourth thing I remember is that Mary Kay had an oatmeal mask, and they mixed it with water if you had just normal skin, and if you had dry skin, you mixed it with milk. And then the last thing I remember that really stood out to me was that they sang a lot of songs. Sales meetings all started with Mary Kay enthusiasm. And if you have not heard that song, you owe it to your director to sing it to you. So I watched my mother create an amazing business out of our home. She earned the use of a pink Cadillac. She was able to quit her full-time job working for a stockbroker. And she designed her life in a way that I both admired and respected. Her Mary Kay girlfriends, whom I came to know, they were supportive of each other. They were uplifting. They were focused on goals that allowed them to build their self-confidence and create an amazing life, one that was set apart from every other mother that I knew. And needless to say, as a teenager, this made a major impression on me. I left for college with plans to make good grades so that I could go to law school after graduation. In my junior year, though, I needed to pay for some of my college expenses, and the first thing I thought about was a part-time Mary Kay business. There really was no practical reason for me to start a Mary Kay business since I knew nothing about cosmetics. My mother had given me a jar of extra Moya night cream in college which I literally smeared on my very dry skin every night. But that was the sum total of my skincare and cosmetic routine. You see, I was basically a tomboy and far more interested in playing field hockey and soccer than in looking glamorous. I suppose the idea to sell Mary Kay simply came from watching my mother and because I needed extra money. I knew I could work it around my college classes, my school activities, and my studies. I also knew the hours that I chose to invest in Mary Kay would pay more than the hourly wage offered to most young people at a fast food chain or a retail store, neither one of which appealed to me. So from the beginning of my mother's Mary Kay business, I also heard the principle of God first, family second, and career third. And in addition to that principle, I witnessed the encouragement to do business by the golden rule, along with the unheard of approach that what you send into the lives of other people comes back into your own. I had become involved in high school with a Christian organization called Young Life. And to learn that Mary Kay encouraged Christian principles certainly resonated with me and what I had been taught through Young Life. I had not yet realized that this approach to business was highly unusual. After college, I managed a friend's Baskin-Robbins ice cream store at our local mall until I went to work for IBM in the office products division. But I left IBM the minute I heard that IBM stood for I've been moved. I had no intentions of ever living anywhere other than Charlotte. I was the biggest homebody in the world, and the thoughts of leaving Charlotte were incomprehensible to me and certainly out of my comfort zone. I had the good fortune to go to work for an advertising agency on the McDonald's hamburgers account, and I say good fortune because I learned a lot working for an ad agency, and I will always feel that the boss I had drove me back to Mary Kay. Each one of these jobs I held solidified my belief that I was not cut out for corporate America. And I knew that going to law school would lead me straight back to corporate America. So feeling a bit discouraged and disillusioned, but determined not to spend any more time trying to climb a corporate career path that did not cater to women, I turned in my 2-week notice on October 7th, left the ad agency on Friday, October 21st, and relaunched my Mary Kay business with a totally new focus and a far greater appreciation for what my mother had. Lucky me, it was the Christmas selling season, which I happen to believe is the best season of the year. In about a 6-week period, when I left the ad agency, I had one team member, and on Christmas afternoon, I signed my 12th team member, and in that 6-week period, I sold what would be equivalent to more than $20,000 in retail product just in Christmas sales alone. To mention only a few things that are standouts to me about my early Mary Kay business is probably difficult, but these are the 3 things I want to mention to you today. Number 1, it is impressive to me that while we all want to wear the same suit and drive the same car, each one of us brings our own special uniqueness to our Mary Kay business. We each bring to Mary Kay who and what we are as individuals, and not a one of us is a cookie cutter copy of anybody else. I love that. The second thing is I love that Mary Kay can be nothing more than a plan B to anyone. I would never have started my Mary Kay business if the only way to start was to be all in. I worked full time and started Mary Kay for one party a week just to see if I liked it and to see if it liked me. I needed extra money anyway, and one party a week was a good way to make it. Simply put, I was hungry, literally, and hated working for other people. An exit strategy from corporate America was very appealing to me, and I was determined and committed to building a life that I could live on my own terms. And number three, my concerns about starting a Mary Kay business ran the gamut from knowing nothing about cosmetics to knowing nothing about running a business. But I knew Mary Kay Ash had designed a business model that any and all women could be taught everything they needed to know about running a business. And that gave this introvert a lot of hope and confidence. In addition to the obvious things we dream of, unlimited earning potential, time flexibility, recognition, and of course appreciation, I wanted my career and my life to be congruent. That was something I had a hard time explaining back then, and I still do really even today. How do you explain to somebody that the more you give to others, the more you get in return? How do you explain a business that gives you the freedom to work when you want to, live a debt-free lifestyle that is both moral and legal, and that you would nearly do it for free? How do you explain the sharing and the caring spirit that women in our company have for one another? I mean, how do you explain to others that those we sort of kind of compete with, we also pray for? And how do you explain that you work for a company that teaches you to dream and help others dream too? I've come to realize that you simply can't. You just can't put what Mary Kay is into words, but through your life's example, others will hopefully catch a glimpse and want it for themselves. You've all heard it said that every starter kit contains pink Cadillacs, diamond rings, and trips all over the world, and my starter kit was no exception to that. However, in addition to all of that, the greatest reward that I have found in my starter kit has been the freedom to march to the beat of my own drum while living my life with integrity. Unlike corporate America, Mary Kay never asked me to be something I am not. Instead, I am encouraged to be the best me that I can be. And for that, I will be forever grateful to not only Mary Kay, but to my mother, who recruited me and gave me an example to emulate. My business literally changed my life, both financially and personally as well. When I started my Mary Kay business, I had no skills with money. I didn't even balance my checkbook. I was in debt and searching, not just to find myself, but for a way to enhance my life. And after many years of being in business, reading a lot, studying to gain more insight for myself and my unit members, I became passionate about teaching women to not only manage their money, but to become knowledgeable about all things concerning their money. So the subject of money was also important to Mary Kay Ash too, because she often said, and I quote, and this is my favorite quote Mary Kay ever said, up until the age of 20, a girl needs good parents. From ages 20 to 40, she needs good looks. And from 40 to 60, she needs personality. And after 60, I'm here to tell you she needs cash. So tonight, I want to share a few statistics that I believe you will find alarming enough to encourage you to look at your own financial situation and to make some changes and improvements where necessary. And after sharing these statistics, then I'll offer my top 10 tips concerning money. So here goes the statistics. Number one, women are far more likely than men to be single parents. Number two, 2/3 of U.S. women ages 40 to 79 have already dealt with a financial life crisis, such as a job loss, a divorce, the death of a spouse, or a serious illness. And if you haven't, you are highly likely to. Number 3, even though women have a longer life expectancy than men, which on average is 81 years old for women versus 78 years old for men, when asked how much they were aiming for in retirement savings, women aimed far lower with an average goal of $200,000 versus an average goal of $400,000 that men were aiming for. The majority of women say they are afraid that they will run out of money in retirement, and these fears are well-founded because a typical retirement today costs $738,000, while only 9% of women have more than $300,000 saved for retirement. So 91% of women have very little money saved for retirement. And number 4, fewer than 2 in 10 women feel prepared to make wise financial decisions. 1/2 of all women indicate that they need some help, and 1/3 of all women feel that they need a lot of help. Number 5, women are far and away most likely to end up widowed. The average age of widowhood today is 59 years old, and widows outnumber widowers by a factor of 4. Number 6, 74% of women will be on their own financially, if not by choice, then by separation, divorce, or widowhood. And number 7, the number of middle and upper income women struggling with debt today has risen faster than the number of lower income women struggling with debt. Number 8, Social Security provides 54% of a woman's income after the age of 65, and the average annual Social Security benefit for women today is $14,000 a year. Can you imagine living on that amount of money? $14,000 a year, or $1,166 a month. Number 9, the poverty rate for older women is double what it is for older men. As women, I'm sure y'all know this as well as I do, we make career sacrifices to care for our families. Often we're likely to put the financial needs of our families, like college or our spouse's job, ahead of our own savings. And it leaves us with less savings for retirement, while we also have a longer life expectancy. The two combined leave women 65 and over 80% more likely to live in poverty than men, and women 75 to 79 3 times more likely to live in poverty than men. Those statistics certainly paint a picture of the critical need for women to take control of or take part in their financial future. The good news is that you have a career opportunity with the means to solve any financial issue you have. And so here are my 7 pieces of advice on how to make that happen. Number 1, climb the career path, because your commissions grow by leaps and bounds. Number 2, plan for what you want to make. Don't plan on how to get by on what you're making. That's what most people do. Number 3, get out of debt. Pay on your credit card every single week, not just once a month. After you make the first payment each month, you then begin to reduce the interest on the principal, which reduces the amount of the loan. Number 4, take a loan to pay off a Mary Kay credit card so that you move from compounding interest that grows every month that you don't pay the credit card off, and move it to simple interest, which is what a once-a-month loan payment is. Number 5, if you get a tax refund or if you got a stimulus check, use it to pay on your debt. Don't go spend it on something else. Number 6, make a decision to just stop spending. Number 7, increase your sales. You are fortunate because you are in complete control of what you can earn. Very few people have that ability. I've often said that probably the greatest gift I ever gave myself with my Mary Kay business was to live a debt-free lifestyle. And I will honestly say, when I started Mary Kay, I had debt. And as long as you're in debt, you have a tendency to spend everything you have. You honestly do. But when you are paying your debt down, you're far more likely, once you start saving, at least this is what happened for me, is that when I began saving, I became very protective of that savings account, and I wanted to watch it grow. And so I'm going to give you my 11 pieces of financial advice to do right now. And number one, pay off all of your debt as fast as possible. I will tell you that you will work your Mary Kay business entirely different when you have no debt. And the reason I know that is because I once had debt, and I know how differently I worked when I had none. When you're dependent on what other people do for your income, you have a tendency to do things you would not necessarily do. As an example, let's say that you have a bill due tomorrow and you have a party tonight, and you have a girl that attends a party, and you encourage her to buy more than she probably really needs because you need the money to pay a bill. I have done that. I am embarrassed to tell you it's the truth. But in my early days with Mary Kay, I did do that. The other thing is, when you have no money and a customer has to return product, it's hard to know how to handle that. But once you are out of debt and you never have to worry about money again, you're able to work from your heart and not from your pocketbook. And I mean that. I mean, it really changes how you work your business. Things flow to you when you're not desperate. Desperate people make desperate decisions. And I'd love for all of you to get out of that situation. Number two, save money while you're in debt. Every April, I put as much as the law allowed me into a SEP account. SEP account stands for Self-Employment Pension. When you set money aside, it grows unbelievably fast. Also, putting money away while you're in debt, even if it's only a small amount, $5 a week, it creates a feeling of abundance. A mental shift from lack to abundance goes a long way to how you feel about your business and your life. Number three, get a will and a revocable trust. I could give you so many stories tonight of things that have happened to people that did not have wills, but let me just say that a will is not enough. A will is simply a document that states how your assets will be distributed after you die. But instead, you need a living, revocable trust with an incapacity clause, because imagine that you're in an accident, or imagine that you have a stroke and you're totally incapacitated. Who is going to pay your bills or write your checks for you? And even if you're married and you plan to stay that way, you'll probably outlive your husband. A trust with an incapacity clause allows you to choose the best person who can look out for you and look out for your interests. Number four, goals set for savings every month. Every month I sat down, even while I was in debt, and tried to figure out how I could sell just a little bit more in order to put a little bit of money in savings. Most people spend more time thinking about vacations and planning for vacation rather than savings. It's a sad fact, but it's the truth. Number five, get a disability policy. If something happens to you physically, who is going to pay your bills? Number six, look into long-term health care. You may think that's crazy, and some of you girls are young listening to me. Just make notes on this and know this is something to look at. I bought my long-term care insurance in my late 40s. I will forever be grateful that I did. Today, my long-term health care, if something happened to me, it will pay $10,200 a month for me to go into assisted living or to have home health care. Number seven, open an HSA, health savings account. It allows you to set aside tax-free dollars each year for health and medical care. And if you don't use it, then leave it in the account. But if you need to, you can pay for medical costs before your deductible kicks in to your health insurance. Number eight, get a first-class CPA who knows the ins and outs of a home-based business. Too many people go to, a chain that's down the street where people are given a 24-hour crash course on how to do income taxes every April. Those people do not have your best interests in their heart. You will pay for what you get. Honest to goodness, if you need me to recommend a CPA, just say it in the notes, and I'll answer that for you when I come back to your questions tomorrow. Number 9, invest your money in things that will grow your business, like office help if you're a sales director. And even if you're a Mary Kay consultant and you have a huge business, I'll bet you could use some office help. When I first started to decide what all I needed help with my Mary Kay business, I looked at all the things that I knew that I could pay somebody else to do. And I looked at the things that I knew that nobody else could do but me. And I chose somebody to do the things that anybody could do. And I spent my time doing the things that only I should be doing, and that was being in front of people. So when you have excess money, invest it in things that are going to grow your business, computer equipment, whatever those things are. And early in my directorship, when I started doing $500,000 and getting cash for doing unit circles, I took that money and invested it in office help, equipment that freed me up from doing things like going to the post office and standing in line. You girls are lucky today because you can use pirate ship and some other things like that. But make your money work for you. And number 10, save for retirement before you save for your child's college education so that you won't become a burden on your kids later in life. There are plenty of college loans available, but I can guarantee you there are no loans for retirement. And number 11, don't leave the family finances to your husband. Don't blindly believe in your husband's good intentions and financial prowess. Immerse yourself in the family finances. I promise you, if your husband has been in charge until now, you may find he's done a great job, or maybe not. When he dies or your marriage dissolves, you don't want to find out that you should have been worried. I have a very, very close friend who several years ago, her husband died very, very suddenly in a freak accident. And I mean, very freak. They were at the beach. They were on the balcony, and the balcony fell. And he was an amazing businessman. And so she just assumed that he was doing a great job handling their financial affairs. But when he died, unfortunately, she found out that he had absolutely no life insurance or anything, period, in place to protect his family should something have happened to him. Talk about a disaster. A sudden, tragic accident coupled with financial devastation was about more than she could handle. So I just cannot encourage you enough to take these pieces of advice I've given you, and particularly look at your financial situation with your husband and make a plan to do some of these things I've talked about. I mean, I just can't tell you enough the absolute impact it will have on your Mary Kay business when you're doing your money right. Instead of letting your money get out of control and you be in debt and feel like you can't crawl out from under it, I promise you, you can. You know, you've got a great director. Go to her and ask her to help you devise a plan on how to make that happen. And I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate being here with y'all tonight. And let me just also apologize for last week. I had a horrible, terrible cold and sore throat, and I still have part of it now. So I hope that you've been able to listen and hear me okay with my voice like it is. So again, my apologies for having to delay this by a week, but I hope this has been very helpful to y'all tonight.
Robin, seriously, I have I have pages of notes. I loved it. Oh my gosh. The one thing, these pieces of advice, simple, concrete, and it's just a plan. We can go in and actually start doing these things and like crossing them off, so that way we can actually be in control of those finances. I mean, this is really good. I mean, even looking at when you said you bought long-term health care in your late 40s, and I'm like, oh, I got to look at that here in this new 10 category that I'm in. I mean, that's something to consider down the road. It's just.
Well, Heather, let me also say that it's hard to get long-term health care today.
I suppose.
It is not an easy thing to get. And, I pay $4,300 a year for my policy. But it's the best check I feel like I write all year. I mean, every single. One of the things that I have suggested that you'll do are necessary and needed. Every single one of them. So hopefully this has been helpful.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm looking at all the questions going, ooh, this is good. This is really good. So, like I said, this is the quickest star party that we've ever had. But what I love is it was concise, it was clear, and ladies, what she gave you was a really great foundation for us to build our business on. This is why we all join. This is why we join, is to make money. And yes. Robin's the woman that has figured out how to make that money work for her instead of us just simply working for our money. So,
well, the good thing is once you pay your debt off, and the second thing I did was paid off my home. So I got out of debt. I paid off my home, and then I began making investments. And I invested my money in products that I utilized. Like back in the day, I used to I put a bunch of my money into my first $5,000 $1 million bonus check. I bought Krispy Kreme stock with it. And it doubled and doubled until I made $25,000 with that stock in just about a little less than a year. So, then I realized that I needed to invest money in places that I use the product and love the product. And so I started investing in Apple years ago before, it was the thing to do. In fact, I remember my stockbroker saying to me, oh, we don't recommend that. I said, well, I don't care. It's my money. Buy me some Apple stock. So, people probably don't know it, but you don't have to have a stockbroker to buy stock. You can use the Cash App and invest yourself in a little bit of stock and start growing some money. Yeah. So, pay the debt down and save while you're paying your debt down. If you own a home, get it paid off. I mean, honestly, the most freeing thing I ever did with my Mary Kay business was get totally out of debt so that I could work from the needs of other people instead of my financial needs. That changes how you work your business.
Absolutely. I've known when I've been in that same situation, and people, when you work from that point of view of, you need to sell product. Yeah.
It's not a good place to be. So it puts too much pressure on you.
Absolutely.
And like I said, desperate people do desperate things. So you don't want to be in that position.
Absolutely. Well, Robin, I just want to truly acknowledge you for your time, the time that you did learning to be able to prepare for today, the life experiencing, just this, making money not so scary. That's what I absolutely love. That's what I love about you. You just make it not scary for me. And just thank you for your time. Thank you for, wanting to be so good. And, I know it was a really tough decision to not get on last week, but to give yourself the time to be able 100%, that's who you are. You wanted to give 100% to us. So thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Last week I had no voice, so I could not have done it last week. So
absolutely. So
thank you for having me. It's a real privilege and an honor to be asked.
Awesome. Well, ladies, remember, ask your questions because she's going to do something that's never happened before, and then she's going to jump on tomorrow. And hey, hello, and welcome to your star party. Oh, I'm so excited. I get to introduce my friend to you. Oh, I guess it's this way. This is my dear friend Robin, and I get to accolade her. I'm going to tell you her accolades because let me just say it's impressive. Tonight, she's going to actually be teaching us all about money, and she's the person that when the company needed training on financials, she was the person that the company went to. And the reason why we wanted to have her at this point in the year is because when you think about March and you think about April, you think about taxes. And we're always, for me, I'm always, okay, I'm going to do better next year. Well, this is the person that's going to help us think a new thought to bring that into fruition. Okay. So make sure that you are commenting and comment a lot and also asking questions. So what we're going to do, we're going to do this a little bit different than we've done other guest nights. Usually I would gather all the questions and then she would answer them tonight. Now we're going to do this a little bit different. We're going to gather all the questions. I'm going to email them to Robin and she's going to come live tomorrow and answer them for you because she really wants to. This is what I love about Robin. She wants to make sure that she gives you the best thought out answer. And that is how she deals with her money, is she thinks everything out. So let me tell you her accolades, okay? So Robin's mother, Beverly, became a Mary Kay consultant while Robin was a junior in high school. Mary Kay was just 7 years old at the time. Robin remembers Mary Kay coming to Charlotte to promote her autobiography. So that was Mary Kay Ash. And Beverly, her mother, picked her up at the airport and drove her all over the city. That was the first time Robin met Mary Kay in person. The year was 1971, and Mary Kay Cosmetics was just 8 years old at the time. Fast forward to October 1980, Robin had graduated from college with an English degree, and while working for an ad agency on the McDonald's hamburger account, she decided to restart the Mary Kay business she originally started her junior year in college, but was with a total different focus, that of becoming a sales director. At the time, a Mary Kay business was simply her ticket out of corporate America, and she was not looking to do anything other than to pay her bills, or so she thought. She had no idea just how much her Mary Kay business would change everything about her life and her future. She became a sales director 7 months later, and in May of 1981, Robin celebrated her 46th anniversary, August 1st of this past Mary Kay year. As a sales director, Robin achieved the National Court of Sales 6 times, Unit Circle of Achievement 6 times, the Unit Circle of Excellence 14 times, including the $1 Million Circle 5 times, and her unit ranked in the top 10 of the Pearl Division 11 times. Her unit ranked in the top 10 nationwide 4 times, and was the runner-up to the Queen of Unit Sales at the Pearl Seminars twice, and she was the Queen of the Pearl Seminars twice. A few other career highlights include being nominated as the monthly Miss Go Give at the Pearl Seminar in September 1990. During her active Mary Kay career, she earned 138 stars on her ladder of success. And the reason we're on is to celebrate you for being a star. So congratulations for doing what it takes to be on this call, because you are a star, just like Robin was a star. She did it 138 times, and she's been driving a free car since 1982.